All right, let's talk Cavs for a sec, and then we'll get to Browns, and we're going to go back to the Cavs. But I was at the game last night. 15-0 is no small feat. That now ties the second best start in the history of the NBA. It ties the 93-94 Rockets and the 48-49 Washington Capitals, which is such an old irrelevant team that no one knows how to spell it. Some outlets spell it Capitals with an ALS. Some outlets are spelling it with an OLS. There's no consensus whatsoever on how to properly spell it. That's how irrelevant it is.
Had anybody ever heard of that team before?
The hockey team?
No, but the basketball team,
No.
Capitals. I never knew that.
I honestly did not know they existed.
Yeah.
The Warriors have, obviously, the longest winning streak to ever start a season at 24 games back in 15-16. But the Cavs did it last night without Donovan Mitchell. Jerome steps into the starting lineup, goes 24-8, which is essentially Donovan Mitchell-esque numbers. They scored 128, but 130 points again in the fourth quarter. They pulled out a zone defense that they had rarely used thus far.
I hadn't seen it.
They used it a little bit on Friday against Chicago, and I got some cool tidbits on the zone we'll talk about later in the show when we get to a little more Cavs in-depth discussion. But, guys, they have a counter to anything you want to do and try to stop them defensively. And that's what's made them so dangerous as an overall unit thus far. It's an incredible start to the season. 15-0 is nothing to scoff at. And we'll go around the horn real quick. Jay, we'll start with you because we're going to end with you on shotgun reactions for the Browns. But 15-0 is freaking incredible.
Yeah, I think the question was what's the most impressive part of it?
And we're going to dive into that.
Or is that going to be the first topic?
That's the first real topic.
So just my treetops of really not just last night, but the last couple. This is a team that clearly has its foot on the gas when it wants to and knows how to feather it on and off. When you're watching, you see them go up by 11 and 12 early, and then for a lot of the game, it's a three-point game, and you're kind of frustrated because you're like, why can't this team put them away? But guys, I think they found a really interesting gear that I think the Bulls had during Jordan's run, and also I thought the Warriors had it during their dynasty. And that's they're almost toying with their opponents for 3.5 quarters. It's like they're saying, that's cute that you're making a lot of threes. And it's cute that you guys are really hard playing and you're hustling. But each time nitty gets to gritty, they stand up and squash them like a bug and win by double digits. I've seen it the last few games.
Yeah.
And to me, I think that's the most impressive thing, and I'll dive more into that later. But just my treetops of same thing was last night. I'm watching them. I'm frustrated they're not able to put them away. And I keep wondering, is this the night? You know, I've wondered that probably the last 4 games. Is this the night? It looks like this is the night. Oh, it's going to happen tonight. Then they just go nuts down the stretch, and it doesn't matter who it is. It's been really one of 6 different guys. And I don't know that there's another team in the NBA that's equipped to have 6 different guys at any given point in time just say, I'm going to literally take over the game right now.
I'll tell you what, when I look at it, when I used to watch the Golden State Warriors back in the day, the thing that used to be so impressive about the Golden State Warriors was the fact that when they used to move the basketball, it didn't matter who they put on the floor. It just was like, you know, hey, Leandro Barbosa is hot today. Andre Iguodala, Livingston. They would have these random no-name gangsters, and it just did not matter. Like, they would get these dudes coming off the bench, and they would all play the same way. It was almost impossible to guard them. They would shoot from half court, and it was that type of atmosphere and that type of feeling that scared everybody to death. And I look back and I say, maybe it wasn't just about the basketball itself and how you move the basketball, because we've said that a lot. Maybe it's just the fact that when you get a group of people that actually start to believe and actually start to be in that zone, and if anybody has played basketball, there's a place where you can get where it almost seems like your body is moving by itself. It just seems like you just got the ultra instinct that Goku, man. If you know, you know. All of a sudden, guys like Jerome come in and give you 24. And you look at the confidence they playing with. Darius Garland playing at the top of the food chain right now. He was playing around. He was just getting to his spots and throwing his floater up. And this time I'm going to throw the lob to Allen. It's like everybody is in the right place at the right time. And they playing like we feel we're better than everybody. And that's one of the best feelings in the world, to be able to go on the court and say, no matter who we got, Jason, No matter who we play, we feel like we better than you, and we not panic. I feel like they're playing like just calm, like, yeah, y'all can't even see this.
Yeah, they know they're going to win. And two things I think that jumped out to me. Number one, go back to the knockdown dragout I was not here for about the winning streak and will it impact the way that they finish, more or less. The fact that they were 14-0 and sat their best player on a rest day tells you their eyes are on a bigger prize than this streak. That takes some balls.
You aren't kidding.
To go 14-0 and say, you know what, we've had
By
this
the way, I
plan
like
in
that
place.
move.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's great. Like, we have this plan in place. This is what we set out. We knew we were going to rest Donovan on this night. He's going to have 3 days now of rest prior to the Boston game. Doesn't matter, we're 14-0. We believe in the guys that we have. That was huge, number one. Number two, the thing that I'm most interested about, and I've talked about this at length, this is a new NBA. And it was always star-driven teams win championships. The league is put in place now. They've put these levers in that doesn't allow that, where you're not going to see these teams loading up with stars. And the Cavs are sort of the test tube case in this. Donovan Mitchell's highest MVP finish is 6th in his career. Donovan Mitchell is a fantastic player. He's not one of those elite top 5 guys that, like, when you talk Steph, LeBron, KD, he's never been in that conversation. Maybe he will be by the end of the season. But to this point in his career, he's never been. But the Cavs have so much depth and talent on their roster. This is the first test case of this new look NBA. Can you win with really, 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 really good players and not those top big 3, top 5 guys of the Giannis, Steph type of ilk that we have just come to expect? You have to have one. It's been the rule in the NBA forever. You have to have one of these guys if you are going to compete for a championship. The Cavs' top guy is really freaking good, but he's not in that, at least not to this point in his career. And yet, they're the best team in the NBA right now. They're the hottest team in the NBA right now, and they very well could win an NBA championship. So I'm fascinated by all this, and I keep talking about it because it's so much different than how we've always viewed the NBA. But with the way that this cap is built and the way that this league is structured now, the Cavs have everybody except Karis LeVert under contract for a really long time. Like, this team is going to be a problem for years to come. And I don't think that people around the league recognize that part of it as much. All the extensions that they handed out and where this thing is headed, like, and a side benefit of that is you don't have guys worrying about their numbers for their next contract because everybody's been paid.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about, I got to get mine, I got to get mine, I got to get mine tonight because
Who do you
I
credit
got
for
this.
that, Jay?
Kobe. Kobe gets the credit for that because he locked all of these guys up. And when you lock them up, and we had the conversation, they got Jarrett Allen in just under the wire that, well, if you have to trade him, you can still trade him. Well, who's talking about that anymore?
No one.
Nobody. So it accomplished two things. Number one, it got all these guys paid. It got them all under deals. And it allowed them the flexibility if they had to trade someone. Okay, you don't have to trade anyone. Well, look at what we have. Look at the runway that you have now. If you have 3 years minimum with all, again, you set Karis aside. He's the one guy. And by the way, he's having the best season of his career. But everyone else has already been paid. And you also give credit to Jarrett Allen because he didn't have to take that deal. He left money on the table by taking that deal, but because he had 2 years left. But the way that these guys are all locked up now, this thing is in a really good place.
Really quickly, you when you was covering it in the summer, I give Kobe Altman credit for this because he didn't want to get rid of JB. That wasn't a thing where it wasn't an easy decision.
It took a long time.
It was not an easy decision.
It took a long time, and he went through with it.
Yeah.
And it's paying dividends.
I think if you go back to the summer, we knew how this was going to end. I think he knew how it was going to have to end. I don't necessarily know that he was thrilled to have to do it, but we talked at length about JB had lost the locker room, and he had. And maybe now you're seeing why. You know, like, and listen, I defended JB as much as anybody, and I still think he did a lot of really good things when he was here. Like, we've talked about, we don't have to talk about it again. He pulled him up out of the mud. He established a baseline, a foundation, identity of who they are, how they're going to play, And he did a lot of really, really, really good things when he was here. Obviously, this thing has now, and it's only 15 games. And I've talked to guys in the locker room the other night who said, hey, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. We have to finish this. Like,
yeah, the 15-0 is forgotten.
no one's going to be talking.
That's
exactly it. And they know that. And they believe that they're playing for something bigger. So Kenny has certainly taken this to a different level. But, you know, if you want to go back to the summer, yeah, it was a hard decision to move on from JB because, I mean, go back to the Boston series. They didn't have their guys, and they were still competitive. Like, they played the Celtics hard.
They won a lot of games.
Yeah. but it was the right decision in the end.
To your point, I mean, a couple of things. First of all, I would put it as kind of like Donovan Mitchell's a tier 2 star, right? Like, there's tier 1 stars. We know who they are.
That's exactly right.
He's a tier 2 star.
That's exactly
which
right.
is no insult. That means you're an excellent player, but he's a tier 2 star. And we haven't seen a team win with their best player being a tier 2 star in a very long time.
Right.
So that's it. And in terms of Kobe Altman, he certainly deserves a ton of credit. I think we've all been harsh with him at times, been critical of him at times. I think a lot of people thought just keeping the roster, most of us, I certainly did, just keeping the roster the same was not the right answer. But right now, he looks like he was 100% right. That keeping it together and finding the right coach was the answer. What I can say is that the Cavs, most importantly, sometimes, and I certainly get caught up in this, where it's like I've said the regular season doesn't matter 1,000 times, and it doesn't in terms of making the playoffs. We know the Cavs are in the playoffs. There's no doubt, even going into the season, we knew there was no way they weren't making the playoffs. But what sometimes we forget when we're talking about championships, because in the end, that's the most important thing, is there are fun moments along the way. I look back now, a month later, I think the Guardians had a great season. They had a fun season. I enjoyed watching them play all year. I enjoyed watching them win against the Tigers. Yes, I don't like the way it ended. Nobody likes the way it ends unless you win a championship. Sure. But it was a fun season. There's a big difference between what we saw from the Guardians and what we were seeing from the Browns. It's not a fun season watching the Browns. So however this Cavs season turns out, this start to the season has been fun. And fans enjoy that. And I'm enjoying it. I'm sure you guys are all enjoying it. And so there's something to be said for that, even though it may not matter in terms of the standings or in terms of what ultimately happens. We watch sports to be entertained. We watch sports because we want to have fun and enjoy our teams. Most years, I wouldn't even have watched that Friday game that the Cavs played.
Correct.
Because we're not going to talk about specifics about that game on Monday, but I was locked in to every single play.
I wouldn't have gone to it any other year. I would have been at the arena on a Friday night.
If they're 9-6, probably none of us watch.
Exactly.
It's a Friday night and life happens.
Exactly. But right now,
I want to add one thing to what you said, Jay, because I think Kobe does deserve the credit. But I think the one thing that we really haven't touched on is you can have a blueprint for get this kind of player and this role player and this player and then lock them up long term. But what they kind of either fell into or it's because the hard work they did before they acquired these players, the teeth of the gears all fit.
Yeah.
And they fit perfectly. There's no one really. I thought last year that Darius didn't fit. He was moping. I didn't like his body language. It looked like he was trying to get himself sent out of town. And I don't think that anymore. And I know winning cures all warts.
Sure.
But to me, I think this group was willing to, in Jarrett Allen's case, to sign for a little extra length, but leave some money on the table. Because I think they look around and they realize, guys, this is special. We can do something here. And not just win a championship. It's every team's goal to win one. But it's not outside the realm of possibility to see this team contending for multiple championships. Sure. And I think they're all, for the most part, selfless. They're putting team over self. Look at Donovan Mitchell. If Donovan wanted to be a tier 1 star, he could probably do that. But it's more important to him right now that they win.
I think
he's becoming a tier 1 star in my mind.
We know the regular season, MVP is a regular season award. If the Cleveland Cavaliers, he just signed there, if the Cleveland Cavaliers have the best record in the league and he's the best player on the team, Donovan Mitchell's going to win MVP.
He might. That's what I'm saying.
Certainly going to contend.
This might be the year where he elevates.
But
to this point in his career,
doesn't feel like that's his number one priority. Sure, he'd like to win an MVP.
Right. I don't think it is,
But
Paul.
just the fact that we talked about this on Thursday or Friday, whatever it was, the fact that he apologized for trying to get that triple-double, none of us needed him to apologize. No. But it just showed, an unselfishness to his game. He was like, yeah, I was selfish for a minute. We were all like, it's fine, Donovan. We get it. We get it.
Yeah. No Mobley.
Yeah.
on Friday.
Yeah.
Come back, no Donovan Mitchell, no problem.
Well, and you had Noah Coro and no Wade.
Now, in fairness, though, they're not playing elite teams when they're doing that. And that's smart, though.
Yeah,
That's smart.
They're not, but I don't care who you're playing. You hang 144 on a team
My goodness.
without Evan.
You're right.
And then you come back and hang
130.
128. Yeah, 128 without Donovan.
Yeah.
These are still NBA teams.
That's
Is it
crazy.
the Celtics? No. But they're still NBA players.
I can't wait till tomorrow night.
Oh, my God.
Like,
I'm
I
so
can't
glad
wait.
it's on
I don't know that
national
I've
TV.
looked forward to a regular season game in November. I have it. This is
Never.
Yeah.
the most anticipated regular season November game that I'll ever watch in my life.
Yeah. Are Wade and Okoro going to be able to play? Do we know, Mike?
I think he's confident.
Don't know.
Atkinson, I read this morning, is confident that they will.
So in the locker room after the game last night, they both had walking boots on, but that's always precautionary.
Right.
Wade essentially said, "I'm fine." I don't want to but essentially he made it seem like he's fine. Okoro didn't do anything. Like, no one got a chance to really see Okoro. So I feel more confident in Wade playing than I would in Okoro. But if they both play, I wouldn't be shocked. And if neither played, I'd be a little surprised. So
They are playing. It's like everybody that steps on the court for the Cavs. I think you said something like this before, G. Whoever steps on the court seems like, I don't know for sure, but it feels like every player they put on the floor is confident. They believe in themselves.
Of course, they're 15-0.
and they can't miss. It's
Right, it's
when
just
you're winning and you don't
crazy.
miss, it's incredible.
Before you go quickly, our director, not director Steve, our coordinating producer Steve, just sent the text. This is fascinating. If the Cavs go 33-34 the rest of the way, which is obviously a game under 500, they'll finish 48-34, same record they had last year.
And later in the show, we're going to talk about
This is a
potentially
nice
catching the
runway.
wins record, and that's why now
Yes.
I think it is worth entertaining
Yeah.
said conversation because they're incredible. And last stat, I just want to mention this last thing, then we'll talk Browns real quick, and we'll get back to the Cavs. In the clutch this season, which NBA.com defines as last 5 minutes of a game, games within 5 points. So as soon as it becomes a 6-point game, that possession does not count for your clutch stats. The Cavs have an offensive rating of 149.1, a defensive rating of 78.3, and a net rating of 70.8, which would shatter
That's
any NBA record for net rating in the clutch by about 61 points.
Oh, my God.
that's like
So
NBA
they're
2K
playing-
stuff.
they're
Like that's
playing
not
their
real.
61 points?
They're playing their best basketball in the biggest moments
Yeah.
of the games
Well,
that matter.
That goes to my point that
Yeah.
the last couple of nights it's really jumped out to me how, and I'm sure if it's close and late Boston, I'll be like, here we go. But each of the last four, with like 4 or 5 minutes to go, I'm like, I think this is the night.
Yeah.
And then they just find that gas pedal, and
right.
it is over. And it happens in such rapid. It's like boom, 3, boom,
It's a
3,
Cavaliers,
turnover,
baby.
3, dunk, done.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
All right, the